Hi, I'm Mary Matz from Twisted Yarns. You all may know that you could use your garter bar as a stitch holder to remove all the stitches on your machine. But did you know that you could also use it as a decker tool and only take off a portion of your stitches? In this video, I'm going to show you a little trick that I use every so often. You don't need it a lot. But sometimes when you're doing shoulder shaping or neck shaping or doll shaping, you can use this little technique and it saves you an awful lot of time. So here's how. I want the 16 stitches on each end to be taken off. So I'm going to pull all the rest of these are brought so that the needles are all the way at the hole. What that does is it puts the stitch behind the latches. Now I'm going to carefully, with my garter bar blocker, push these back. Not enough to close them, but push those back and pull these forward. And all of them will come forward. Now what that does, let me drop my garter bar. That stabilizes the stitches. Now, what that does is the center ones, the center stitches, are still in the hooks of the needles. And the end 16 stitches on either side are, oops, I have some hook open already. This is where a plastic card cut off helps you open up your latches, because they are hard to see. And there we go. I think I got them all now. Okay. What you want to do is you want to center your garter bar as much as possible so that it's balanced. Okay? And you're going to pull all the stitches onto the garter bar. Now the ones in the center are still caught by the hooks. So the only ones that actually go on the garter bar are the ending 16 on either side. Okay? These wouldn't go because they're caught in the hooks. Now, I'm going to let that drop for just a second. Before I go on, I'm going to cut this yarn and put a clothespin on it. Now, I'm going to teach you a little silly little trick, and it happens to work. This is painter's tape, blue tape that you can get at the hardware store. And what I do is I just put it on my garter bar, lift. Now I can leave that one on for a second. Since I have two sections that I have to do, I can put this one on this side. And then I can lift my garter bar off the machine and carefully fold this over. Now, oddly enough, the blue tape keeps the stitches. Now, I'm going to take these weights off because it's just too much weight. The garter bar is adding additional weight. So I'm going to take the extra weight off because I'm really stressing these center stitches. Now I can take this off and I can put all of the needles that are now empty. That one's got a stitch on it, okay? All these needles into non-working position. I'm making sure my carriage is set so I can knit each row. Now I'm adding another strand of yarn. Now, these stitches have to go up against the bed, otherwise they won't knit off. And I'm going to hold this down here, and I'm going to carefully knit these stitches. And we're going to bring out all the stitches, the 16 stitches on each side, which brings us to 20 and 20. And we're going to peel off this tape and peel off the other tape. Can you see that? I just peeled them off. And once you have your stitches ready, you want to pull this in. This is what's going to stabilize it. Pull those away so that you can drop your stopper plate. And now the needles can't move horizontally on you. So now it's really easy to line up your stitches. And yeah, we're all set. You tip it up a little bit and just pull all the stitches back on the needles. You can remove this, but now that I don't have a garter bar holding my work, I'm going to have to weight this down a little bit more again. Here's how to take the stress off the knitting. If your machine has gate pegs, put a twisty on each end of the garter bar by inserting it through an eyelet near each end and forming a loop. Hang it from the gate pegs. The carriage will go right over the twisties. All you have to do is the shaping. If your machine does not have gate pegs, it gets a little trickier. Before you set up your machine, tie 4 strings of cotton yarn around the table. Then set the machine on top of it. Make sure that 2 of the strings are within the clamps and the outside 2 are outside the clamps. That way you can adjust where the string is located based on your need. Use the garter bar as described before, but before you take the stitches off the needles, insert one end of a bent paper clip through the nearby string that is around the table and through an eyelet on the garter bar. Let it hang and repeat on the other end with a second paper clip. Continue to remove the garter bar with the stitches and secure the stitches with the painter's tape. Adjust the paper clips so that the garter bar does not stretch the knitting. Then continue. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please take a moment to subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications of upcoming videos. Happy machine knitting!